What's up, you guys? What's going on? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. And I'm sorry, you guys, I am running behind and a little late, and that's because my internet is acting a fool again. It doesn't matter that I pay for the premium, it doesn't matter what I pay for, but it is what it is. So I have to do everything manually. But thank you guys for pulling up. But we can't start without the theme song. So here we go. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and you're watching the Red Cup Podcast, where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. And it is a Wednesday. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody in the chat? What's going on, you guys? What's going on, Artifacts? What's going on, Carol? Hey, what's going on, Chad from Moss? What's going on, Ian? Got Flavor, Sugar Shane Jr., your car. What's going on? What's going on? Let me see who else is in the building. It's a Wednesday. You guys, so I wanted to tell you really quick, okay? Again, welcome. But I wanted to tell you really quick that I will be changing the days of the show. Okay. So it will be Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay. So Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll do it live. All right. And it'll still be at 6, but Mondays and Wednesdays. All right. What's going on, Tyrone? How are ya? What's going on? So yeah, you guys, Mondays and Wednesdays. All right. When I tell you this internet acts a fool, it acts a fool. How's your guys' week going? It's a lot going on. Where is Magnetar? Because I know you're not working because you federal. So where's Magnetar? Magnetar is a federal worker. He should have been the first one here, and nobody went to work today. Okay. I'm over here in DC. Nobody went to work. It was quiet. How do y'all feel about this shutdown? We're going to get into a lot of that. How y'all feel about this shutdown? Y'all good? You know those government workers, they don't do nothing. Don't tell them that, they get mad. What's going on, Jermaine? What is that? Is that Debbie? Dewey? What's going on? Let me know how to pronounce it right. Like COVID quiet. I feel you guys. So look, my week has been great. Okay. We started off the week really good. I had a great time with Chicago Flips Red. Okay. They were here last week in the district for the Congressional Black Caucus events. And when I tell you, if you haven't seen our interview, go check it out. It's on my channel page. Okay. It's up there. It's the first thing up there. And when I tell you the stuff that they were telling me that was happening to them down here was wild. Okay. It was absolutely wild. What's going on, Christopher? It was absolutely wild. All right. The fact that they had their booth all the way in the back. Okay. So nobody could see them. They didn't have them on the rundown. All right. So if you were looking for Chicago Flips Red, you didn't see them on the little rundown that they usually have. You didn't see anything. And it's wild because you know exactly what they're doing. Okay. This is supposed to be the Congressional Black Caucus, but yet you're doing this to Black people. Okay. Other people of color. All right. If they were Democrats, they would have been up in the front. However, they still had a really good turnout because people were going to the back to go see them. So that's what's up. But I had a really good time talking to them, and we're going to be doing some things and working together. So I just want to shout out to those ladies over there with Chicago Flips Red. That's Danny and that's Zoe. You guys go and check their YouTube out, go and check their social medias out, and go and check my interview out. We had a good time. What's up? The what? The Black Cocoa. Yeah, they called it the cool show. I mean, it was so, like, it was just wild, the stuff that was going on. So, yeah, go check it out. All right, you guys. All right. So that is that. So I want to get into a couple of things today, you guys. Okay. I really, really, really do. Because when I tell you they're acting a fool again, they're acting a fool again. So we're going to get into some shots really quick. We're going to pour it up really quick, and then we'll get into the main topics. But I want to get into these really, really quick. So let's get into the Minnesota autism fraud. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but the Minnesota autism fraud is just absolutely heartbreaking, okay? Because with everything that's been coming out about autism and all this other stuff, okay, people can go fight against Donald Trump and Tylenol, all of this stuff, but they don't look at their own communities. Now, we all know Minnesota is very, 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 very liberal, okay? They got Tim Walz, for Christ's sakes, as the governor, all right? But with that being said, nobody's over there checking out what they're doing over there. And that's how they were able to do this. I want you guys to see really quick what they were doing over there in Minnesota, okay, with autism. And it's so sad because this could go to actually help children that have autism. But instead, it was going to scammers who were Somalian. So, you know what we're talking about, Ilhan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were going to scammers that were Somalian and saying that they had families that had autistic kids. It was just so sad. So let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. Here we go.
Take a look at this graph showing the explosion in this program. This is the amount of money the state has paid in Medicaid claims to autism treatment providers using your tax dollars. You can see in 2017, not that much, just more than $1 million. But you see the gradual growth here. In 2021, more than $80 million. But look at last year, more than $220 million paid out in claims with a grand total of just shy of $700 million. This is what state investigators are now looking at, these soaring costs, and questioning how many providers are doing real work.
It makes me sad for the families.
Dr. Eric Larson has dedicated his life to helping families with autism, running LaVos Institute Midwest here in Minneapolis. He even helped the state stand up its autism program a decade ago.
The only reason we're delivering the services is because families worked so hard over the past 30 years to develop this program.
But now that program is in the crosshairs of state investigators. As 5 Investigates first reported, 1 in 5 autism centers in the state is now under an investigation after a new crackdown on fraud. How do you explain that big of a number of open investigations?
There was such a high need for autism services in Minnesota when the state began offering it that it's an unlicensed service. So there aren't the same structures in place.
DHS says it stepped up enforcement late last year, around the time the feds raided these 2 clinics suspected of billing the state more than $20 million for services never provided.
I was never thinking somebody is going to submit fake bills.
Larson says he only started to get suspicious last year when he and his staff tried calling providers in the state directory. He couldn't reach at least 100 of them.
No apparent email address, no website, nobody answering the phone.
Red flag, you think?
Well, they're certainly not trying to deliver services.
Do we have an idea of how many of those are not even real?
We are visiting every single one.
Is this now, for some providers, the first time that they've ever had a site visit?
I can't speak to whether it's the first time some providers have had a site visit. What I do know is that we, since we designated them high risk, we're doing more site visits.
And that high risk label means providers will face a more rigorous screening process.
Please. They said they're going to, face more screening processes. I don't think nothing's going to happen, okay? Tim Walz is not about to do anything about it, okay? Them Somalians, they run that over there. They're not going to do anything because that's who's actually caught up in all this, okay? It's the Somalians, all right? And one woman has already been indicted, okay? They've already been indicted by the feds. So, and guess what she is? Somalian, right? So again, that is what's going on over there in Minnesota. They talk about Donald Trump, they talk about the Republicans and all this other stuff, but it's always something going on in Minnesota. Okay? The knucklehead is not doing his job. He's not doing his job at all. Okay? He's too busy going down the steps with FU Trump shirts on, smacking his butt in booty shorts. And that's a fact. That's actually a video. I won't burden my audience with that here. But that's what he's doing. He's busy doing that, okay? And then Ilhan Omar is busy, going up to Capitol Hill, making a mess of things and not really doing anything. She's just like Ratchet Crockett and bald-headed Ayanna Pressley. They all don't do anything but yell and scream, and then they go home to their home states and scam, okay? They all scam. Every last one of them that used to be in that squad, they all scam. AOC, scammer. Okay. She's a Puerto Rico scammer. Ilhan, Somalian scammer. Okay. And Ayanna Pressley is just an American bald-headed scammer. Anywho, this is what they're doing. Okay. When this could actually go to help autistic kids, being that a lot of the children nowadays, especially young boys, have autism. We just heard the numbers last week from Donald Trump. Okay. The liberals can get online with Tylenol and some of them can overdose themselves, but they can't see what's going on in their states and what's going on with the children in their states. Got it. Just like Kamala didn't know what was going on at the border, her nor Tim Walz. It's a ratchet day. But that's what's going on in Minnesota. So you guys let me know what you think about that. And let's go ahead and finish our shots here and let's pour it up just a little. This next story, you guys, is just so wild and so ratchet. When I tell you it's wild and ratchet, it's wild and ratchet, okay? Now, if you guys don't know, there was a superintendent out there in Iowa. I'm sure you guys already know about it, right? Superintendent in Iowa is a legal alien. He gets caught by ICE. The usual suspects, right? I said something feels funny about all of this. That whole story, something felt funny. So I followed my hunch. Thank you so much. I'm going to read your super chat shortly, but thank you. I had a hunch. Something said, that seems like DC and Maryland tactics. Okay. And boy, oh boy, was I right. I want you guys to see this because this gets wild. All right. Here is, what's his name? Ian Roberts and his ties to the DC area. Okay. Here we go.
We'll be following this story closely, no doubt. Well, tonight we are following the latest about the arrest of the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, who we've learned has ties to the district. Our Alexis Wainwright joining us in the studio with what the latest on what happened to that superintendent and then what comes next. Alexis?
Well, Larry, we've been seeing so many reactions to the news. Many people say they are shocked and surprised about this. Now, Dr. Ian Roberts was arrested by ICE in Iowa. He is the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools. Roberts used to work in D.C. as a principal at the academies of the Anacostia. An ICE spokesperson says Roberts doesn't have a work permit. When he was taken into custody, Roberts allegedly was carrying a hunting knife and a loaded gun, which is against the law for those who don't have legal status in the country. Meanwhile, we are also hearing from the community in Des Moines. They're having a protest outside of the federal courthouse, as you can see on camera there. Take a listen to what the staff had to say about this.
The strength of Des Moines Public Schools is in its people, our leaders, educators, and staff who will continue to advance the mission on behalf of our students and families as we wait for clarity in what comes next.
I just think there needs to be a legitimate reason that ICE is taking people. So I think it's important for people to know that the general public, I think, is not okay with what's happening.
Now, this is also coming at a time where a new lawsuit is challenging the Trump administration's federal surge right here in D.C., claiming that immigration agents made illegal arrests without warrants. Obviously, we have more on that and the impact that this region is feeling from ICE coming up tonight at 11. Back to you.
So essentially, he used to work in Southeast DC, okay, which is the poorer area of Washington, DC, okay, in the academies of Anacostia, okay. I don't know what that is, but apparently they hired him. Go figure, okay. How did you not know he was illegal? And he did that before he went out there to Iowa, okay. When I tell you this area, I keep telling you guys, I tell you in videos, I tell you in live streams, this area has a lot of illegals and they just skate, especially Maryland, okay? Especially Maryland. They have a lot, okay? But it didn't stop there. Oh no. It didn't stop there. I said, maybe it's just DC. Nope.
Controversy continues to swirl after an illegal immigrant who has faced criminal charges and deportation orders was arrested by ICE while serving as the head of Iowa's largest school system. And we are digging deeper into Ian Roberts' Maryland ties.
As we've reported, he was an educator for years right here in Baltimore. But with his legal status in question, Fox 45's Jessica Babb presses answers from local leaders.
In a press conference this afternoon, Ian Roberts' attorney says he will be resigning from his position as superintendent in Iowa. But when his attorney was directly asked about Roberts' citizenship or legal working authority, his attorney refused to answer. As questions swirl about Ian Roberts, the former superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa, arrested by ICE.
As a district, we are navigating through an unprecedented few days.
We're digging deeper into his ties to Maryland.
All sorts of red flags should have been prompted there.
With ICE arguing he's an illegal alien with no work authorization.
That's right.
Has a weapons charge and a final order of removal signed by a judge in 2024.
That's right.
The Iowa Board of Education Examiners has now revoked his license, saying he was ineligible because he no longer possesses legal presence in the United States.
Correct.
School officials in Des Moines say,
We can tell you that on his I-9, he stated he was a citizen and he provided 2 forms of verification, a driver's license and a social security card. As is typical in other organizations, this is what employers ask of their employees.
While school officials say his hiring process didn't raise any concerns, ICE Field Director Sam Olson says how he was hired is beyond comprehension and should alarm parents of that school district.
I think the one thing we will do after this is a kind of an after-action review to identify ways that we might strengthen or even enhance the process.
But what about the processes and policies in Maryland? We know Roberts was employed with city schools for almost 8 years, from 2001 to 2010.
You can't make it up.
Serving as a teacher and principal. His LinkedIn also shows he spent time working for DC public schools. With his legal status in question, how was he able to be employed by so many school systems? While City Schools wasn't able to answer all of our questions related directly to Roberts, we followed up with them asking generally about their policies. Like, what documents do you require potential employees to submit to verify their citizenship or work eligibility? And does the school system use any third-party vendors to verify the information is correct? Or does that happen internally? What company or service is used to perform background checks? We asked DC Public Schools the same questions. When it comes to Roberts' Maryland teaching license, since only active certificates are visible online for those issued before 2022, I reached out to the State Department of Education to get more details. I also asked about the requirements to get that license. Do you have to be a U.S. citizen, or are there other pathways for non-citizens? And what type of checks are in place before receiving a license? In a statement from City Schools, they say they follow strict employment eligibility requirements, including verification of work authorization. But they say because Dr. Roberts last worked for City Schools more than 15 years ago, his employment falls outside of the records retention period. Since that time, they say their vendors and processes to verify employment eligibility have changed. They say their current procedures include multiple layers of review and verification.
Okay.
We are still waiting to hear back from DC Public Schools as well as state officials about about the questions we sent them. But tonight, questions are also mounting about Robert's education and his doctorate degree. While we know he attended a program at Morgan State University, Morgan State confirms he did not graduate from their university with a doctorate.
Child, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. You can't make this up. You cannot make it up. These liberals are giving illegal aliens not only driver's license, not only social security cards, because you know they love to say, well, they're paying into the tax system. How? How do they pay into the tax system without a social security number? Okay, so he has a social security license. He has a ID, which means he, at least here in Maryland, if you have an ID, you can vote. Okay, I'm pretty sure he did. So he has all of that. And then he goes and gets a job at the Academies of Anacostia, okay, in DC. He gets it there. And then he goes on to Baltimore, okay? Be more careful. He goes up there and he does the same exact thing, but now he's a principal, okay? And he has all of a sudden he has a doctorate. I don't know when he found the time to go to Morgan State and get a doctorate, but he has a doctorate, okay? So he has a doctorate, and then he goes to Iowa, and he becomes a superintendent. The only person that had a better rise than this man right here is Kamala. Okay, Kamala is the only person I've seen rise that fast without doing anything. Absolutely nothing. So. Thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate it. I'm gonna read it shortly. Yeah. So between him and Kamala, they the GOAT. They are the GOATs because they've done absolutely nothing and they've gone all the way to the top. This man has a doctorate from nowhere. Okay. He went from being an employee at the Southeast schools in DC to a principal in Baltimore to superintendent all the way in Iowa. You gotta love liberals. You gotta love them. They don't check for anything. Oh, he's a black man. We can't do that. Oh, we can't discriminate. Oh, man, scammers, absolute scammers. He didn't teach those kids nothing because Baltimore has some of the worst, and I do mean the worst test scores. Most of those kids graduate without even knowing how to read. This is absolute nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. So this is what I knew I had to find out because I had a hunch. I said, no, I know this behavior. I know this behavior. It sounds like some DMV stuff. And sure enough, it was. Right? Because everybody's reporting on it. I know. But I just had to dig a little further because that's what we do here. And when I dug, I dug. And that's what I found. So a career criminal. From the time he got here on that student visa, okay? Just doctored up, literally. So you guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about Ian Roberts, the scammer, okay? Forget Joanna, the scammer, Ian, the scammer, okay? He's the GOAT. I'm telling you, the GOAT. He had those liberals food, okay? Them white liberals they don't know what to do with him. So you guys go down in the comments and let me know. All right, let me go ahead and read these super chats. Thank you guys so much for supporting and thank you so much for pulling up. I appreciate you. Let's talk game with Lyric the Gamer. Thank you so much. $9.99 super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you. Gary S with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. As always, Mika, great show. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. Thank you for pulling up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, you guys. What you say, Solomon? The DMV always helping these illegals. They always help them. They helping the Maryland dad that's not really a Maryland dad. That's really the dad from El Salvador. All right, that should be the Sudan dad by now. But the illegals keep putting them back here. Yeah, they always help illegals. Okay? They always help them. They never help anybody here. I can't stand anybody that's a politician from this area. I really can't. I really can't. These liberals is out of control. Absolutely out of control. All right. You guys, let's move on, okay? let's move on to Joyless REID. Joyless REID is back on the map. Okay, unfortunately, Joyless REID is back. I don't know why she's back. Her and Don Limon are starting to get on my last nerves. I'm just going to tell you that right now. However, Joy Reid has decided that she is a qualified independent journalist and that you can get all your news from her, and that she has the same standards, same quality. She can get all the guests that she was getting before. So you guys, make sure you follow Joy Reid. Okay. If you like that kind of news, if you like bald-headed reasoning, if you like TDS, go ahead and follow Joy Reid. You'll get it. But if you don't, you can get all of the highlights here. So what do we have? So Joy Reid is on a press tour, book tour. I don't know. However, she decided to go and do an interview with BET. Okay. BET is trying to rebrand itself. That's what they're doing, I guess. And in the midst of rebranding themselves, they decided to bring Miss Joy Reid on. Okay. So there she is in all her glory. All right. Miss Joy Reid. Joyless REID interviews, but it's what she says in this interview that has a lot of people just looking like, why is this a problem? And we're going to talk about why it's a problem. All right. Here we go.
Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business.
Correct.
You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes.
Right.
That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you go...
Ma'am. Oh, the bald-headed reasoning is high with this one. Okay. Here's the thing about it. What Joy Reid is talking about is something that I talk to you guys about all the time. Income taxes are illegal. They're illegal. All right. They're a provision that never had a sunset clause. Okay. They never had a sunset clause. It wasn't supposed to last as long. All right. And so it did because the people didn't push for it to end. And so we are now mostly funded as a company. The United States is a corporation, but as a country, we're mostly funded by the people, literally on the backs of the people. Okay. On the backs of our income taxes, on the backs of our work. And it was never supposed to be that way. Okay. That's not how the Constitution has it. That's not what it states in the articles. All right. And so with that being said, a lot of these people are okay with it, which is why you hear, oh, pay your fair share in taxes, pay this, pay that. We weren't supposed to be paying this. This is a republic. Okay. But you guys have allowed them to go ahead and call this a democratic republic. It's not that either. It's not a democracy. It's a republic. And in a republic, a constitutional republic, we don't do these type of taxes. Okay. But she's saying that because she's against capitalism. Okay. And before all of the income taxes and when things were on tariffs, which is why Donald Trump is putting that back, because yes, he's trying to go back to it. I've told you guys this before. But the reason why she doesn't like this is because she doesn't like capitalism. She's a socialist, communist, anything with a list on it that isn't capital. Okay. That's what she is. Joyless REID and the people that are just absolutely nuts and weird like her and want to do all of this, the real fascists, all right? They don't want you to be able to have money in your pocket. They don't want you to start businesses and be able to leave things to your children. Absolutely not. They want Agenda 2030. That's what they want. And they can't do that if you guys are around here trying to not pay taxes. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all need to be paying taxes today. But that's what Joyless Reed is talking about. That's what she's talking about. Okay? That's the real fascist. She's talking about socialism. Okay? Which is everything is ran by the government. Which is what that 2030 agenda is. You will own nothing and you will like it. Which is the reason why all these companies are buying up all of these single family homes. You guys are not having any families anyway. Okay? They've already engineered that. Well, it's well to do. It's well to go. Which is why they had to import other people here. Because they're having families. It's absolutely insane. But that's what she's talking about, okay? So you would think the nonsense would stop there. Oh no. We got more bald-headed reasoning, okay? We got more TDS. This is Joy Reid and Baldwin and Company. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea where these people go, where they talk to other people at. I just bring you the absolute news and the absolute nonsense that is in our popular culture. All right. Here's Joyless Reid ranting again. Here we go.
I mean, and as somebody who's, my parents, my father was from the Congo and my mother was from Guyana. And so they were the immigrants who came here on purpose and they got the rude awakening. My mother got the rude awakening, like, oh, it's racist here. That's weird. For some reason, she was already told me, why go to school? Yeah, she's like, they didn't tell me this is the land of opportunity, but not for me. It's weird. But I am familiar. I mean, and as somebody who's, my parents, my father was from the Congo and my mother was from Guyana. And so they were the immigrants who came here on purpose and they got the rude awakening. My mother got the rude awakening, like, oh, it's racist here. That's weird. For some reason, she was already told me, why go to school? Yeah, she's like, they didn't tell me this is the land of opportunity, but not for me. It's weird. But I am familiar. I mean, and
so essentially what she's saying is, she's not FBA. She's not ADOS, whatever you want to call people of color that are of African descent or Black. She was not born here, and neither were her family members. Okay. They're from the Congo or Guyana or something that she just said. All right. And so with that being said, her family members supposedly came here and got a rude awakening that, oh my God, it's racist. This is not the land of opportunity for me. Meanwhile, her family is well off. Meanwhile, she's well off. Meanwhile, she went to school. Okay, she has a degree. She has the life that all the liberals want, all the white liberals, all the Black liberals. This is what they want. My career, they want all of that. And she has it. So I'm trying to figure out, why is she trying to make a struggle? She's exactly like Ratchet Crockett, trying to make a struggle. Okay? When you've had people that really did come from a struggle, like Dr. Ben Carson, okay, came up on streets of Detroit with his single mother and turned out to be what? A phenomenal doctor. Okay? But he doesn't lean on that. Or what about what's his name? Byron Donalds. What about him? Okay? He could talk about, being locked up. He could talk about all the nonsense that he did before he got himself together. All right? He doesn't lean on his ratchetness. He doesn't lean on it. Neurosurgeon, thank you. He doesn't lean on his ratchetness. And that man is about to become governor. He doesn't have to. Okay? Everybody has a past. But why do we have to focus on that? And so Joyless Reid here is trying to, I'm so serious. She's trying to lean on something that she isn't a part of, which is the struggle. Okay. And she's trying to say, oh, well, you know, even though my parents got to come over here, you know, they found out that, hey, we don't like black people here. Okay, child. Well, then go back to your country. Exactly. Like, I can't stand when they do this. They just make up stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. So Joyless Reed has such a struggle in life, okay, that she's talking to BET. She's, you know, she's on panels, you know, with the rich boule black folks. Okay, she's on those panels, and she's even talking to the former vice president on her own show. You know, because she's an independent journalist now. You know, she was fired on her day off, but nevertheless, she's an independent journalist now. So with that being said, she gets to talk to the vice president. Everything is so racist, but look where she's at. You can't make this stuff up. Okay? We never get to use real racism in real situations because you guys use it so frivolously. You use it like it's, you know, toilet paper. It's wild. But let's hear what Joyless Reed and Kamala have to say. Here we go.
Your accomplishments are elevated, it somehow is seen as diminishing his accomplishments. That makes that 107 days harder. In a world in which you were allowed to shine throughout that previous 3.5 years, the 107 days gets easier. So that's the piece I think that people are going to confront, that you were held back as vice president and he didn't seem to have the loyalty of the White House.
The point that I can't emphasize enough, and it was part of the frustration, frankly, during the 107 days, I wasn't running against Joe Biden. I was running against Donald Trump. And when I think about, in particular, what is most important about what I share of those days and my experience, one of them is understanding that in a race where the seated vice president was running against a former president who had been running for 10 years, since 2015 when he came down that escalator. And when I reflect on those 107 days and everything that we knew and highlighted about what Donald Trump was saying, both the promises that he made to so many people and did not keep, such as bringing down the cost of food or anything else, to the promises that he made that he did keep if it inured to his personal benefit, including weaponizing the Department of Justice, silencing the media, militarizing the streets of America. Those are part of what I hope people take away in terms of remembering that they told us what they were going to do.
Isn't this the same woman that forced people to stay in their homes? Even though there was supposedly no martial law, they forced people to stay in their homes and picked the vice president candidate to run with that had tanks rolling down the street, telling people in Minnesota to stay in their homes. Isn't this the same woman? Those are the same people, right? Same people. Okay.
And we've got to hear them when they speak and understand the elections coming up in the midterms or beyond. We better pay attention to what those 107 days taught us about where things are headed.
Well, and to that, I'm going to ask you a quick news of the day question, because we just did see Jimmy Kimmel suspended, really for a joke that was about Donald Trump. If we're being honest, if you just play the tape back, we saw what happened with Karen Ati at the Washington Post. It feels like the media is collapsing, right? That feels like one of the consequences.
Well, yes. What they have done is they are using fear and the threat of fear to silence their critics. Can you imagine, Joy?
Yes, we can imagine. We can. We literally could not talk during COVID. Okay. We had to come up with a name. Okay. Everybody called it the jab, the C-19. Yeah, we understand what fear is. Okay. When I say we mean conservatives. We understand this already. Like I keep telling you guys, the Democrats play a dirty game of, I forgot I said that. I forgot I did that. I'm telling you. And you know, I don't know what's going on with her because this was just like 2 years ago. Like, Willie told you, ma'am, that you were in over your head, that you should have just took the attorney general spot and you could have coasted. Okay, you could have coasted and stayed under the radar, but no, you had to be the first Asian, the first. I want to stand in for a black woman because I'm not really a black woman, but I'm gonna stand in for a black woman. You had to be her. You had to. And then you said, well, I only got 107 days, ma'am. In most countries, they just put a name up there. You vote, you vote. You had 107 days and you were the sitting vice president. You didn't win because everybody saw the nonsense that they had been through for the last 4 years, okay? You said that you've been to the border, but you hadn't been to the border and you hadn't been to Europe either. We don't want that. We absolutely don't want it. So that's why you didn't win. Absolutely, Greg. She is not black, but she stands in for black people, for black women. Okay. The 92% loves her. Okay. She just went up to Howard and they were up there just, Meanwhile, on election night, when she lost, she left them out there. Now, you know, black people don't like to be in the cold. It was cold. They was out there waiting for her and she left them out there. Didn't give them a word, didn't give them a sign, nothing. A bat signal, nothing. Because that woman does absolutely not care. She didn't care about black women in California when she, you know, was putting black mothers in jail. Black mothers who had sick children. She put them in jail. Oh, well, your kid's not in school and I need this money per pupil. Okay. She didn't care then. She doesn't care now. And that's a fact. Exactly, Nick J. Trifling. So that is Joyless Reed and Kamala. Okay. Just trash altogether. But you guys get down in the comments and you let me know what you think about Joyless Reed and her independent run. Okay. She's saying that she's back. She doesn't need corporate media. And maybe she don't. She used, you know, MSNBC to get a leg up, but we shall see how it goes. You know, ever since Don Limon did all of this, you know, all of them think they can do it. So, you know, maybe Joyless Reed can. But you guys go down in the comments and let me know what you think about her run and how she's doing these new interviews. Okay. Now, something that I want to get on to that I absolutely love, okay, is Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, I absolutely love that he did this, okay? Absolutely love it. Everybody's mad at Pete. I love it. I didn't see what the problem was, but a lot of people just were highly upset at poor Pete. And I didn't see what the problem was. I thought Pete did a great job. But we're going to get into it. What y'all say in the chat? His speech was good. Willie Brown was legally married. That's a fact. Okay. But he put that woman in places. That's why I said between Mr. what's his name? Mr. Ian Roberts and Kamala. They the goats because they did absolutely nothing. And they got in high places, okay? Making high bucks that tax dollars pay. Because we paid Kamala all that money to hear her say, run, spot, run. Absolutely ridiculous. Americans got to do better. Do better. All right, you guys. So let's get into what Mr. Pete Hegseth, you know, had to say. That's definitely not Pete. But first, I want you to see Mr. Pete's, I guess this was his opening statement. So I want you to see his opening statement before his speech. All right, here we go.
Stop whining. Your kids are soft.
Mm-hmm.
You lack discipline.
That's right.
Well, I've got news for you. You're mine now. You belong to me. You're not gonna have your mommy stand behind you anymore and wipe your little douches. Oh no, it's time now to turn this mush into muscles.
That's right.
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimball have to go to the bathroom. Nothing.
That's right.
There is no bathroom. Stop whining.
And that was Pete's opening, okay? He's tired of seeing these fat troops. He's absolutely tired of it, okay? So he just wanted to open with that. And I thought it was a perfect opening. So you guys let me know what you think about it. He said, y'all gonna stop whining and y'all gonna get in shape, okay? If I can get out here with my six-pack, y'all can too. So I want to get into what Pete said, and then we'll go on from there. Here we go.
If the Secretary of War can do regular hard PT,
that's right,
so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon
that's what's up.
and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the joint force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our joint force is required to do PT every duty day. Should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching.
No.
Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve.
What did he say wrong? What did he say wrong? I mean, I would have thought that this would have been praised. I would have thought that this would have been something, good. We're on this, you got everybody on the health kick, so I thought it was something good. What was the problem? Everybody had a problem with this. And I just said, why? What did he say wrong? I couldn't understand why everybody had a problem with it. However, the main people that did have a problem with this, of course, you know who it is. You absolutely know who it is. The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls had such a major problem with it. I want to get into what The View had to say about Pete. Here we go.
I'm actually really befuddled by why he did that. The optics were terrible, meaning all of our top military brass are all in one place, and we spent $6 million to get them there. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. It also didn't make a lot of sense to me that he was saying that he was going to toughen physical standards and review the anti-hazing policy by sort of implementing a hazing policy. And then also he said he was going to return to the highest male standard for combat positions because the troops were fat.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that was supposed to be an uplifting message for our military.
Maybe he's referring to Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, it was really a bizarre thing. He started talking about woke DEI policies. By the way, there are no gender quotas in the military. By the way, he fired more than a dozen military leaders, many of them people of color and women. He fired the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Charles Brown Jr., who is African-American. Yeah. He fired the first woman to command the Navy, Admiral Lisa Franchetti. I don't understand the sort of hypocrisy of firing these people. Yeah. Having all these people meet together and then denigrating them.
But did you look at it? They're looking at him like he has two heads.
Well, from a group of people that absolutely don't work out, okay, you could clearly see it doesn't work out. I mean, she's not, out of shape, but she's not in shape, right? Okay, don't work out. And we all know that, what's that lady's name? Joy No Heart. She doesn't work out. Like, I just don't understand why we're even entertaining this, honestly and truly, because at the end of the day, nobody over there at The View, nobody over there at, anything liberal wants to work out. The men have low testosterone. We all know. Okay, you got people like Harry Sissy or Harry Sisson. I think the first one is more fitting. However, you got people like that who absolutely don't have any type of masculine figures, okay? That think that you can, carry a purse and it's still masculine. You may still be a man, like a male, but it's not masculine. Men do masculine things, okay? If you want to carry a purse, that's fine, but you're going to be put on the feminine side. It is what it is. Why are we trying to change this? You're confusing the kids. You guys are confusing the kids. Absolutely. Absolutely confusing the kids. The liberals don't understand what they're doing, okay? They don't understand what they're doing. They know what they're doing currently, but they don't understand what they're doing for future generations. Okay? These boys are not equipped to do anything. You ask them to pick up something, it's a wrap. They're weak. They can't pick up anything. I seen a video in the 1960s of young high school boys working out and they were ripped. The average high school boy I see right now is either malnutrition or he's highly overweight. And the girls, I'm not even going to start on them. Okay. Most of them look like they're about 30, 2 kids, 2 jobs, no man, just they got to grind it out. That's what it looks like. And I'm just like, why are we supporting that? Why aren't we telling our kids better? Why don't we want our kids to do better? Why don't women want little girls to do better? Males, men, why don't you want the boys to do better? Why are we coddling them when we should be pushing them out there to do more? Why are we doing this? I have absolutely no idea, but I'm telling you right now, I hope most of you have a good retirement because your kids are not going to be able to take care of you. I swear to goodness. I don't see it for most. But here you have a man who's actually talking to the top brass, okay, to tell them, hey, you need to get in shape because you're at the top. It starts with the top. It starts with the top. So you get in shape and then others will fall in line. That's how it has to be. So I don't understand what the Golden Girls, Cloudy Hostin, Joy No Heart, Whoopi. I don't understand why they're mad. I really don't. Because to me, Pete Hegseth is a shining example of what men should be doing, and that's setting examples. What's the problem? Liberals just like to complain about stuff. I swear to goodness. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about good old Pete. Let me know what you think about Pete and what Pete's talking about with the military getting back on the standard. Okay? And not just women, the men as well. Okay? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Let me read the super chats. I appreciate that. Thank you, Brown Eyes, with the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. The ladies on The View are all on Ozempic. Thank you, Miss Brown Eyes. Yeah, because they got a big head. Like I got a big head. All right, and it's fine. But you can tell when it's the Ozempic that's doing too much, because then they get that Al Sharpton look. Okay, they start getting a little turkey, kind of like Joy Reid. They start getting a little turkey. Start moving a little bit. It's not attractive. It's absolutely not attractive. Thank you so much, Miss Brown Eyes. I appreciate you. It's definitely not attractive. Yeah, it's like a little, yeah. It's like a little, it hangs. I see you, Miss Brown Eyes. Did you not get it yet? Miss Brown Eyes, send me another email. Because I hate Maryland's UPS. I really do. Send me another email, Miss Brown Eyes. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I can't stand it. Absolutely can't stand it. All right, you guys. Let's go ahead and move into this last topic. Well, next to last topic, because I want to get into this one really quick. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into this really quick. Don Limon. Okay. I'm absolutely sick and tired of him. I'm absolutely sick and tired of Don Limon. He is on my last nerve. And yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Okay. Don Limon for the last time has absolutely annoyed me because he's just absolutely talking too much. Absolutely talking too much. So I want to get into that. And we're going to talk about it because I was perturbed when I saw it. All right. So I want to get into the first one here, but I want to show you this really quick. This is Don Limon's man. Okay. He like white men. And that's fine. Okay. That's absolutely fine. I don't care who you like. But the man who likes white men, okay, the white liberals, that one, he don't like the white conservatives. Okay. He thinks y'all are racist. However, he has something he wants to say about white conservatives. Here we go.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men, something is broken. Something is cracked deep inside when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence.
No, he didn't say something is broken deep inside. You know what? Don Limon is trying to get on here and tell us his deepest dark secrets. I'm going to run it back. But, sir, we came here for your worthless messages. We did not come here for that.
Is cracked deep inside when so many of you believe the answer to fear, to loss, to change is violence. Are you listening to me?
No.
I hope I'm saying it loud enough for the people in the back.
We're not.
Men who look like you, men who vote like you, and men who sound like you. White men.
White men what?
Something is broken.
Yeah, white men don't really care what Don Limon has to say, unless it's the white liberal men that Don Limon likes to be with. Okay? Because you can't tell me that Don Limon is not a bottom. Not at all. Because he's too messy. Okay? Because what was the purpose of this? What was absolutely the purpose of this? Okay? He gets over there and he talks to those lemon drops that he likes to talk to, and he just throws shade and glitter at people. And he takes things and he makes them bigger than what they are. He does that over and over and over again. Well, you know, Frankie, I would avoid Don Limon, but I can't, unfortunately. Because he likes to have, you know, certain guests. He likes to invoke himself into conversations. He's in the political sphere. He's in the pop culture sphere. So, unfortunately, I don't get to. I did see that. I did see that Steven Crowder was back. I did see that. It was actually good. But yeah, that's what he likes to do. So with that being said, he then goes on a little rant here, all right, with MSNBC, because you know over there, everything, and I do mean everything, is racist. Meanwhile, he's talking to white men. You can't make this stuff up. Here you go.
And then there are days where you need a drink, and then there are days where you need a lemon, or maybe a lemon-themed drink. Which brings us to longtime veteran journalist, host, anchor, author, Emmy winner, Don Lemon. He hosts the Don Lemon Show, which streams on YouTube and podcast platforms. And he's here for his book, I Once Was Lost, My Search for God in America. Welcome back.
Thank you. You know, I had a book before that. It's called This Is the Fire, where I talk about a lot of the stuff that's happening now as well.
A double book plug.
A double.
We recognize the hustle.
You got to get it in.
You know.
Did he? You said book. You said book plug, right? I'm just hoping that's what he said. Book.
Oh,
yeah, man. How are you?
You know what Hope said? Don't knock the hustle. Okay. I want to do the shutdown with you briefly. It's not our lead story because best we can tell, shutdowns usually get worked out.
Yeah.
But you have Schumer and Jeffries, the headlines say, facing a leadership test because it's about what are you fighting for? They say healthcare. NBC saying House Democratic Caucus is relishing in the shutdown swagger from Leader Jeffries, giving him a pair of standing ovations.
Yeah.
I think we have this, but some Democrats nervous Schumer may cave. Is this the same rerun? And is it good that Democrats say they actually have a thing, healthcare, that they're fighting for, keeping it affordable, rather than just complaining about Trump?
I think that Democrats have been very strategic and staying on message with this one to focus it on healthcare, because healthcare, what they want, you know, they're asking for to keep the Obama, the ACA tax credits. That helps not only Democrats, that helps Republicans. That helps everyone.
Anybody.
Every politician in America should want every single American to have affordable health care. So I think the Democrats are playing it right this time. I think it's tough for Republicans to say this is a Democrat's fault when they're in charge of every single lever of government. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a tough one. When you have the majority and you still need a little bit of the minority, they absolutely know this. Like when the Democrats ran everything, see, I have this argument with libs all the time. Okay. Libs will say, oh, well, you know, Donald Trump, not Donald Trump. Barack Obama, you know, couldn't pass what he wanted to because the Republicans were the minority. Okay. Barack Obama from 2009 to about 2012, 2013, something like that. He had the majority. So I don't understand. So when it's with them, it's the Republicans' fault. And then when it's with the Republicans, it's still the Republicans' fault. Like they play a dirty game. They play an absolute dirty game, right? And Don Lemon is no different. Okay? He's no different. So I want to get in really quick with this last take he had on MAGA and the whole shutdown. Here we go.
Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, they want you to believe that the Democrats are shutting down the government.
Because they are.
Which I said is a crazy sort of mind trick, right? A gaslighting of the country and you by trying to pretend we have no power. It is the Democrats' fault.
It is.
Even now, if it was a Democrats doing this on the other way, I would say, well, look, you guys are in charge.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's a lie that Democrats are shutting down the government. They control, Republicans control the House, Republicans control the Senate, Republicans control the White House, they control the courts, they have power, but they try to tell you that it's someone else's fault. And what's their excuse this time? Wait till you get to their excuses. And this is the personal story that I have that I'm going to tell you. And I wonder, like, what am I going to bring the lemon heads every day? What am I going to bring the Lemon Nation and the people who are watching every day? What will I tell them that's different from the day before? Well, everything is personal. Everything is relatable to your life. So I want this to relate to your life as a human being every single day. And that's what I try to bring to you.
Come on, Lemon Drop.
So what's the excuse this time, or the excuses this time for not wanting to work with Democrats, wanting to shut down the government? They say it is about health care for illegals.
It is.
That is a flat out lie.
Oh, really?
They say it's about transgender kids in sports. Now, what do transgender kids in sports have to do with continuing to fund the government. The Democrats aren't asking for anything that has to do with healthcare for illegals or for transgender kids in sports. And now just remember that people who are here who are undocumented, some people want to call them illegals as they do, undocumented people, many of them pay into the healthcare system, or they pay taxes.
Yeah, we know. We just watched Ian Roberts of Des Moines, Iowa, who's really from Baltimore, Maryland, who's really from the Anacostas of DC. We just watched him do 3 different jobs with an imaginary doctorates. Okay, so we absolutely understand that they pay taxes because they did a W-4. How he got it, I have absolutely no idea. So these fake Social Security numbers, maybe, that you guys absolutely know that's happening, but you don't care because it benefits the liberal side.
They pay into the system and then they get none of the benefits of it. So this isn't about illegals or transgender kids in sports. They have turned a fight about healthcare subsidies into a culture war sideshow. They have turned a fight about Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare subsidies into a culture war sideshow. So I want to be clear. Democrats are asking for pretty much one thing, and that's to keep the Affordable Care Act tax credits that help millions of Americans pay for healthcare.
Which was during COVID, when people did not have jobs. I don't understand what the lemon drop don't get about it. Okay, Don Limon understands this, but he absolutely is telling his audience the wrong thing. But that is, I wanted to play that because that is the consensus of most liberals. What Don Limon is talking about there is the consensus of most liberals. Okay, gaslighting 101. That's absolutely what it is. Okay, and that's what most of them think. Most of them think that. Absolutely. Gaslighting. But that's why I wanted to play that, because that's going right into our last topic here, and that's the Democrat shutdown. Okay? Because Don Limon will tell you, well, it's not the Democrats, it's absolutely the Democrats. It's absolutely them. Okay? He wants to say, well, they're the minority, and they know you still need a few of their votes. Okay? They're not dumb. Chuck Schumer did it before. He just did it earlier this year. He's not dumb. Everybody knows. It's absolutely propaganda artifacts. Absolutely correct. Would you say you had to turn the volume down when he was talking? Oh, that's how I feel when Ratchet Crockett talks. If I'm not doing the show, Ratchet Crockett talks, I turn it down and I watch her do all of this, and I watch her shuffle papers and stuff. And it's hilarious. Trump needs to do one of those AI videos on her. Okay? He needs to do one of those. However, yeah, let's go ahead and get into the treasonous Democrats, okay, who like to say that they would never, absolutely never give illegal immigrants, okay, or as they call them, undocumented persons, they would never, oh my God, they will like never give them free healthcare or advocate to give them free healthcare. Really? Didn't know that. Well, I don't know who these people are, but they look like Democrats to me. And let's just see what they were advocating for. Here we go.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay.
One, two.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Who we got? We got Kamala. We got Colonel Sanders. Okay. We got Sleepy Joe. Okay. And the rest of these throwaways. Okay. That's what we got. We got the whole lineup. Okay. And all of them, their hand is raised. I mean, some a little lower. His down there, his barely up. But at the end of the day, they said it. Okay. These people did not mind going ahead and doing it because they knew what they were going to do. Okay. They knew what they were going to do. But let's move on. Let's move on to our favorite person. Okay? Let's move on to Ratchet Crockett's auntie, Big Wig Maxine Waters, and what she had to say up on the Hill.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, American
Excuse
employees are gonna
me,
be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open, and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Who's everybody?
We want to save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
Right.
So you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just
You're
asking
divisive.
questions.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
You're being divisive. No, please. You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Appreciate it.
Oh my God. You can smell the mothballs from here, child. At the end of the day, they all think this, okay? They all want to do it. They all want to do it. They all absolutely support it. They all absolutely support it. Okay? And it's just a fact. But let's go ahead and see what some of the, inside folks inside the states are saying. All right?
Facebook this morning on your Facebook page, you said that this bill strengthens Medicaid by not allowing illegal immigrants to use Medicaid. And I do want to note undocumented people are not eligible for Medicaid. So what do you say to Iowans who might lose their benefits?
Well, what I say is that you're correct. Undocumented illegal aliens are not supposed to be on Medicaid, but yet they are. The government and the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, agrees that they are. There are states that are allowing them on. Even Governor Newsom in California said that they should revisit having illegal aliens on Medicaid because it is costing, I think, again, and you can fact check this, it's costing California about $12 billion. But remember that the federal government takes up pays for 90% on the Medicaid expansion on the FMAP, the shared portion of it. So we're absolutely strengthening Medicaid for those for whom Medicaid was intended. So our provisions that we put in were very thoughtful in support of what you just said. Illegal immigrants are not supposed to be on Medicaid. So we're not going to allow illegal immigrants on Medicaid. The federal government is not going to cover them.
She told her. Because you're absolutely right. You're not supposed to be able to do it, but they do it. That's the crazy part. They absolutely do it. All right? And everybody knows it, including CNN. But yet they still push it like they don't.
What happens in the next 3 hours and also the days ahead could depend in large part on my first source tonight, the Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. And thank you so much for being here. Mr. Speaker, do you believe the government's going to shut down in 3 hours from now?
I think it is inevitable now. It's a very reckless decision that Chuck Schumer has made. The Democrats have taken the last vote. Within the last few hours, they voted it down once again. And so there's no other option. Now, it's important to note what they're doing here. They're throwing a fit. They're making partisan arguments. The House did its job. We sent to the Senate a clean CR. What that means, it's a very short stopgap funding measure so that the appropriators in Congress in both parties can continue their work of doing the appropriations bills, 12 separate bills. We've made a lot of progress in that. We just need a little more time because tonight is the end of the fiscal year. Chuck Schumer has refused to give the extra time. Why? Because we won't agree to restore health care to illegal aliens, because we won't agree to give $500 million back to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. He wants to cut the big fund of $50 billion that we set aside to support and prop up rural hospitals in America, because we won't agree to those partisan demands, and $1.5 trillion in new spending on a 7-week stopgap funding measure, he's decided to shut the government down. It's real pain for real Americans, and it's so frustrating.
I heard you make that first point at the White House yesterday after the meeting y'all had with the president and with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. People, as you know, people who are here in the United States legally have never been eligible for the Obamacare subsidies, for Medicare, for Medicaid. So what exactly are you saying that they're trying to do when you talk about giving free health care to
I'm
them?
so glad you asked. Okay, so when we passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut,
Mhm.
we had Medicaid reforms in the bill.
Yep.
You and I talked about it on the air. What we did was to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. There were a lot of people on the program who were enrolled in the program who were never eligible to be there. Medicaid is intended for eligible U.S. citizens, not illegal aliens, not also U.S. citizens who are able-bodied workers like young men. So we passed the law. This president signed it into law. Democrats voted against it, of course, and it's been wildly successful. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, which is the neutral arbiter of all these things, released a report a few weeks ago, earlier this month, and they said, you know what? The bill has had its intended purpose. Premiums are coming down. Listen, because 2.3 million ineligible enrollees have been kicked off of Medicaid, which helps to save the program, prop it up. And $185 billion has been saved already
So
in fraud, waste, and
basically,
abuse.
what you did was narrow the eligibility for certain people to get access to the ACA subsidies. What they want to do is undo the changes that Republicans made in that. But basically, wouldn't that only affect people who do have legal status, people who are refugee seekers?
And you have to pay attention to that. And that's what this whole thing is about. So I wanted to play that because I want you to listen to language. Okay. It's the reason why they don't call them illegal aliens, right? It's the reason why they don't say illegal immigrants, right? It's the reason why, because when they use undocumented persons, right, it changes the language, which changes the law. Okay. So what they're saying is, oh, we're not giving healthcare to illegal aliens. No, we're giving healthcare to people that are here legally. So what is happening? What's happening is a lot of these illegal immigrants are doing what? They're coming across the border. When they get caught, oh, I want to claim asylum. I want to claim asylum. Once you claim asylum, I have to then give you a notice to appear in court. And now you are legally here, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because if you came here illegally, you are illegal. Okay? I don't care if you have a court date, you're illegal. But once you claim asylum, from the time that you claim asylum and the time that you have to wait, you can now get services because you are legally here. And this is the loophole and the BS that they talk about. Okay. And I did a little, I wanted to do a little more digging. So I looked it up, right? And when I looked it up, it is, what is it called here? It's called, you got it, the emergency medical treatment and labor that tells you, you know, what you can do. Then you have something called 8 USC 1611. Okay. All of these types of laws and codes allow illegal aliens essentially to get around the whole system. So that's essentially what they're doing, right? And so if you claim asylum, yeah, it says if you're seeking asylum, you're lawfully present. The Affordable Care Act and the federal guidance treat people with pending asylum applications as people that have that are seeking asylum. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up. So since you can't make it up, that's exactly what's happening. And now you have all of those people, and Donald Trump say they all gotta go. And I 100% agree. 100% agree. So that is how you get all of these people on a healthcare system when they're not supposed to be here. That's how you get all of these people that are draining pretty much Medicare, Medicaid, That's how you get all these people who are getting all of these services from welfare and housing services, all of these things, because they're seeking asylum. And when you're seeking asylum, you can definitely get all the services that Americans can get. And that's how they get around it. And thus, that is why we have a shutdown. Because we're not going to fund these Democrats and their illegals. And I don't even think they're giving the illegals the money. I think they're pocketing the money. And they definitely want to pocket it since they don't have USAID anymore. Okay. That USAID money is gone as well. So altogether, Democrats are done. So there you have it, you guys. I am telling you, at the end of the day, the Democrats definitely want you guys to feel sorry for these people that come across the border. And some may even come over here for a better life, but you got to come legally. And there are ports of entry for asylum seekers, but they know they're not claiming asylum because they're not running from anything. Mexico is doing fine. Mexico is doing wonderful. Trust me. Okay. They're fine. So what are they running from? Exactly. So with that being said, no, shut it down. That's my opinion. And keep it shut down until they want to agree to not do this nonsense with our money. We have plenty of Americans that could use that money, that are sick out of their mind. Okay. DC alone, we need that money. Okay. So those are my thoughts. And that's how I feel about this whole shutdown. So you guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about everything today. Let me know what you thought about, the Somalians doing their fraud. Let me know what you thought about Ian Roberts being from the DMV, doing fraud out here and doing fraud over there in Iowa and finally getting caught, scamming per usual. Let me know what you think about the federal shutdown. Let me know what you think about Don Limon. Let me know what you think about The View and their view on Pete HEGSETH. Let me know what you think about Pete HEGSETH. Okay. Let me know what you think about what he's trying to do, and he doesn't, want any more fatties. Okay. You guys got to work out. You got to get to it. All right. Let me read this last super chat. Thank you so much, Miss Brown Eyes, with the $5 super chat. Thanks, Mika, for your knowledge and sharing it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, you guys. So we've been here for an hour, 20 minutes, and that is my show today. I appreciate you guys for pulling up. I just had to show you all the ratchetness that has been happening during the week. And again, make sure you remember that starting, it started today technically, but next week, Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay? Because I see y'all when y'all be in my comment section and on my post talking about where the live stream at. Just ratchet. Mondays and Wednesdays. We're switching to Mondays and Wednesdays, okay? Same time, 6 p.m., all right? And we'll do an hour and 20 minutes, maybe a half, depending on, the ratchetness. But I try to keep it under hour 30. All right? Thank you so much for pulling up loud and clear. Chavez, your car. Let's see, Nick J, Miss Brown Eyes, Frankie. Who else? Dizzy, Junior, Ian. Who else we got in the building? Artifacts. Thank you so much. Who else? I think that's CB, Terrible People Podcast. Eric Watson. Thank you, love. Who else we got in here? I think that's Debbie. I'll keep messing it up. I'm sorry. DJ Ace Production, what's going on? Infernal Machine, thank you so much for pulling up. Wars Peace, thank you. Reese from Philly, thank you so much for pulling up. Sugar Shame, who else we got in here? Quick Fix, thank you so much for pulling up. Who else we got in here? Got Flavor, thank you. Quick what? See, Quickie Car Reviews. I think I got that right. Quickie Car Reviews. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Officer Brown, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bag Garden, thank you so much. I appreciate you pulling up. Who else we got in here? Thank you so much to Gary S. Thank you so much to Let's Talk Game. I appreciate you. And thank you guys for the super chats. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for pulling up. It's your girl, Mika. Again, you can catch me Mondays and Wednesdays next week, okay? Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. here on YouTube. Thank you so much for all your support. I definitely appreciate it. Okay. I really do. And thank you for pulling up. It's your girl, Mika, and I'm out.